It's about midnight on Friday, January 13th/14th, and I have a question for anybody in the Transformers community that happens to watch this. Um, Side note, sorry if you guys have to do a couple of viewings of this video. I may have had a little bit to drink. I don't know, just feel like having a few drinks tonight, and am honestly kind of worried about one of the families on my caseload um, with work, and I can't get into that because obviously confidentiality and all that. Um, but yeah, um, I'm just curious, and this can be called like late night ramblings, drunken ramblings, even though I'm not drunk, I'm just tipsy as hell. Ramblings. But I'm just curious, with all of the third party companies that are out there right now, everywhere from G Creations, who put out a honestly kind of mediocre looking IDW masterpiece, Optimus Prime, heavy emphasis on the IDW, to companies like Cloud9, who released a masterpiece Shockwave right out of the gate at some point last year. We haven't heard anything from them since, more or less, unless I'm completely wrong. Is there not an oversaturation of stuff that we're not getting from Hasbro? I feel like almost every day there's a new third-party company creeping up, and a lot of them have really similar names. We've got Fans Toys, Fans Hobby now. Granted, I'm super excited for their 2001 RID/Car Robots Scourge. That thing looks amazing. But then we have, what's it? It's like Fan Toys, Fans Hobby, Fans Project, who's one of the OGs. I feel like there's almost an oversaturation of third parties. Granted, a lot of what we've gotten recently from third parties has been really good, but I feel like with the surplus of stuff that's coming out, or is out, from third parties, be they ones that are more established, like Mastermind Creations, etc., or even Fans Project, who, honestly, I still keep tabs on them, even though, let's be honest, Fans Project is the very horny high schooler who has their fingers in way too many pies. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I mean, honestly, how many sublines has Fans Project at this point started that they haven't completed? I'm looking at their headmaster's range. I'm looking at just everything else that they've done. Hell, even their Dino King looks great, but he doesn't remain exempt. He's not exempt, that's what I was trying to say just then, from any of the issues that every other third-party combiner before him has had. Hell, the same is honestly true from what I've seen of Generation Toys' Devastator. I'm just curious if, given the oversaturation of third-party stuff these days, there doesn't have to be a very strong sense of selectivity amongst us collectors. I mean, I'm looking at what's become my main display over here just off camera, and most of that stuff is mainstream. I have some third-party stuff in my other room here in this apartment, but with the exception of a handful of figures, most of that stuff is not third-party on this main display over just off camera here. And the stuff that is third-party is stuff that hits a very specific itch for me. Hell, earlier tonight I posted on Ben's Collectibles review on Ace01 Tumblr that I feel like a lot of people are just going to blindly accept his opinion on that figure. and either can go out and get that figure or going to just accept his opinion and maybe consider that figure for a later purchase down the road. As a handful of you saw from me with my last video, my opinion on that figure, while still largely positive, I gave him, I think, a roughly a letter grade of a B overall, is still significantly negative. And I feel like because of the weight that we give the opinions of certain other people in our fandom, we almost blindly go out and buy something, and there isn't that selectivity that there needs to be. I'll be honest, we're not even through January yet, and I already have my biggest regret in terms of purchases of Transformers from this year. I am straight up completely not a fan, as much as the positives do outweigh the negatives on him, of Ace Zero One's Tumblr. You guys can see my basically lambasting of that figure in my last video. It's just that figure, and it could just be my bad luck, left a lot to be desired. That's a very big hole in my collection, a Masterpiece Cliff Jumper. And Ace Collectibles, whatever the proper name of that company is, didn't do much to fill that hole, if I'm being completely honest. To jump back to a company that I've mentioned previously, Fans Product. I used to be a massive fan of Fans Project, but then I started delving into a whole bunch of different side projects. It took them almost 3 years, I want to say. No, scratch that. It took them the better part of a year and a half, if not 2, if I have my timeline correct, to complete their Glacial Lord set, which, I mean, if you're a pure G1er, great. It looked cool. They had this, Ice Age Mammoth-y, this, Ice Age Combiner Mythical Beasts thing going on. But I feel like while a lot of third-party companies like Mastermind Creations and other ones are doing really good things, there's a whole bunch that are just either not doing anything exciting or stretching themselves thin. And at what point as collectors are we going to hold ourselves to the same standard that some of us hold ourselves to with the first-party stuff, Hasbro, Takara, etc., with third-party stuff? Just, I don't know, some random and oddly philosophical food for thought at this hour on a Friday night. So, yeah, if you're at all interested in doing a video response, by all means do so. Just the link to this video, please, in your description. Yeah. If you want to leave a comment, whatever. Yeah, I don't know, I feel like there needs to be the same selectivity or critical eye with third-party figures now that there has been with Hasbro and Takara's releases for some time. To be completely honest, I don't know why I'm still subscribed to a fair few reviewers, and most of you I really like, but there's a select few. I'm not going to name names, but there's one who lambasted the Masterpiece Ironhide mold. By no means is that a perfect mold, but for you to spend over a third of your video criticizing the mold for not being the picture-perfect mental image that you had is a bit inane and childish, in my opinion. If you don't like a first-party release, don't get it. That's what it boils down to from my end of things, and in my opinion. If you're a reviewer and you need to pump out that content, then you're doing it wrong. If you're only doing this thing to pump out content and to give your opinion on a figure that you may or may not like ultimately for your fan base, you're not doing it for the right reasons, in my opinion. So if you're going to lambast a mold for not being the perfect picture of what you think the mold should be, then you shouldn't have bought the mold in the first place. You shouldn't have set aside the money to pre-order that mold. If you were expecting anything different from what the test shots were going to be, you shouldn't have set aside the money for pre-order. Again, Masterpiece Ironhide. How could you expect anything different from what we got from the test shots and the pre-orders? We knew very early on we were going to get a pot-bellied mold with a wheel butt and awkward hip skirts. If you don't like that aesthetic, cancel your pre-order and just don't do a review on the mold. It's that easy. But apparently, it's more appealing to the masses to do a review on a mold that you don't like, as opposed to just saying, hey, I won't be reviewing Masterpiece Ironhide, again, for example, because I don't like him. I don't like his aesthetic. It's as simple as saying that. At what point are we going to treat this fandom, first party, third party, whatever, with the selectivity that it deserves? To be completely honest, I'm lukewarm on Titans Returns. I'm mostly out on Red 2015, which is weird because it's now 2017 and the Twilight is still continuing, whatever. Because it's just stuff that I'm not super aesthetically into. Red 2015 is not for me. It's for the younger fandom. It's for, like, the kids that aren't quite old enough for Generations and Titans Return. Titans Return, I like a lot from what I've seen of it and from what I've collected of it. But it's still not quite my jam. So again, at what point are we going to hit that certain selectivity with first party, with third party, if that makes any sense? I don't know. You guys have listened to me ramble for 13 minutes. Just food for thought. If you want to do a video response, do one. If you want to leave a comment, do one. Thanks for listening to me ramble and waffle and whatever. See you guys in the next one.